seminar. Thank you. Today we have Kasun De Zoysa, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka, giving a seminar on digital futures in the global south, the challenges and opportunities. Kasun is a professor in computer science, deputy director of the School of Computing, and a coordinator of the Digital Forensic Center at his university. He holds a Ph.D. in computer science from Stockholm University. So welcome back to Stockholm. And he has led numerous national and international collaborations to advance digital security and innovation. He also provided advisory and consultancy services to leading financial institutions and government agencies in the areas of information security, digital forensics, and technology risk management. So, welcome, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me to deliver this seminar. Plus, I would like to thank you for Digital Future, this scholarly program which support my visit back to Stockholm. So, as Martin said, I was in Stockholm. Marcus said. Marcus said I was in Stockholm from 1999 to 2004. Doing my Ph.D. at SISTA, Stockholm University. And then I went to US and then back to Sri Lanka. Okay, here I am again, which discuss digital future in the global south. As he introduced, presently I am a professor at University of Colombo School of Computing. And also deputy director and head of the Department of Communication and Media Technologies. And also I coordinate digital forensic activities where I will discuss a little bit on that. And my PhD is in the area of information security. Of course, because of that, I do mainly research on cybersecurity, digital forensic, and federated adversarial machine learning, and so on. But mainly this talk has the collaboration with Stockholm University is usually in some social and cultural aspects, like real life problems. How do you apply technology to solve the problems in the south, kind of. So I'll discuss those when I move on. Right, I will give a brief introduction to University of Colombo School of Computing because most of you are new for that. Some audience here actually visited the UCSC several times. So I invited anyone who interested to visit there to join us at the university. So it's the higher education institute, the first higher education institute established in Sri Lanka for focuses on computing domain. And mainly it has three departments: Department of Computation and Intelligence, and Department of Information System Engineering, and Department of Communication and Media Technologies, where I am heading right now. And our university have postgraduate and undergraduate degree programs. Basically, we have three undergraduate degree programs. One in computer science, which we annually take 230 students. So it's a free education. By the way, the university education is entirely free in Sri Lanka. And we take 230 undergraduates from very competitive examination, what we call it as A-level examination, top set, which basically absorbed to us. And then we have another degree called Information System. It has 120 student intake. In addition to that, we are running a island-wide external degree program where we only do the evaluation. Other parties like private companies and other universities do the delivery of the content. So under that program, it's called a Bachelor of Information Technology. So all these three programs, roughly we graduated every year, like 600, right? 230, 350 and 300, like 650 graduates every year in UCSC. And then in addition to that, we are running postgraduate degree programs. We have several of them. what we call it as Master of Computer Science, Information Technology, Master of Information Security, Master of Business Analytics, and Master of Cybersecurity. These are the 3 programs we are running right now. We have usually 100 intake for first 2, like 200 students, and another we have small intakes like 30, 40, and 30. As I mentioned, in Sri Lanka, undergraduate education is free. In the postgraduate education, we usually charge. The other institute is government-owned institute. They only, actually we are running on the different financial model. That is, we are financially kind of independent. The government pay only our salaries. All the recurrent and ongoing expenses we have to earn. So we usually earn those from the postgraduate degree programs. We earn from postgraduate and provide the free education for the undergraduates. That is kind of our business model we run there. So in addition to that, we have actually PhD programs. We take year through intakes. Roughly, we have 10 students, 10, 15 students there. And there are 2 other programs we are planning to start called Master of Computing Technology and Master of Computing by Research. So that is, I will discuss later on. The Master of Computing Technology is actually extension to our Bachelor of Information Technology program. That is 3-year program, but some universities which needed 4-year degrees for their higher studies. So we want to add 3+1 to those students, then they can go for higher studies in other countries. For that, we are starting the Master of Computing Technology in the next year. And also Master of Computing Research also we plan to start in the next year. I will discuss that in detail later on. Since I had the other independent center which runs down there, we call it as a Center for Digital Forensic. That's handle mainly incident handling cases like computer crime cases. So at the beginning, we were dealing with all kind of crimes, but nowadays we only deal with high-profile crimes. Like these days, present government is interesting on bribery, corruption, and things like that. So we have to spend a lot of time to recover evidence on the servers and other things which happens previously, and so on. And high-profile like cases like you remember there was a ship entirely burned out in the Sri Lankan Ocean, and there was digital evidence but entirely destroyed. So kind of we managed to recover them, all data, and then there are court cases going on internationally and locally against those shipping lines and so on. So like that, in the high-profile cases, we provide the expertise to recover the evidence and then to kind of provide those evidence to the court. So that center again under me. Right. Let's then come to our topic today, digital future in the South. So first of all, we need to be clear it out what is North and South. So this is the definition of UN Trade and Development Agreement. They divide the world into 2 parts. So the red part is the South and the blue part is the North. So according to them, in the red part has less access to the internet. That's high digital divide, what they call it as. And there are some factors they consider, but obviously China is in the red part, but I don't know why that's so, but so that is what called South, but mainly I call South in the African and South Asian countries and also the South American countries, which has less resource and less internet connections and so on. Right. When we think about in general, in the global north, high technology available, infrastructures are very stable, internet is everywhere. And law-wise, we have in this part has very strong laws, like privacy laws like GDPR. And obviously, the researchers here in the global north has access to the funding, kind of unlimited funding comparing to the South. And legal, as I mentioned, legal system here is very strong. and cybersecurity frameworks and also are very strong. And then we have in this part very skilled human resources. But on the other side, so you understand if that cost here is really high, and the market here in the north is kind of saturated, and due to the legal and other frameworks available, kind of in this part of the researchers facing kind of limitation of deploying and testing innovative ideas, because that might take some time to get approval and so on. And then talent is expensive here comparing to the other part of the world. So when we go to the other part of the world, that is global south, we have very limited resource, and our infrastructures are heterogeneous, and the frameworks are not really mature, and they are not standardized, and the systems are here and there, they are not connected together. And security-wise, kind of, we don't have proper laws still. When I take Sri Lanka as an example, we still discuss on how to develop cybercrime laws and cyber security laws in the countries and so on. So I will discuss towards the end as well, even though people see they are kind of obstacles, in some research point of view, they are kind of opportunities, but I feel like that. So I'll discuss that towards the end. Then in the south, if you want to do research like interdisciplinary research combining zoology, bio, and other things, we could build a lot of interesting data sets without any red tapes. And we could deploy the system, test them, and collect the data without any barriers and so on. And we can hire very talented graduates which to the north, which basically all parties get benefited. So I focus on these three, which I mentioned at the last, on this talk. So when we discuss about the collaborative research in between these two parts of the world, so some people think basically the North develop the solutions and they straight away try to deploy in the South and try to get a result. But some of the solutions which develop on the North may not really fit into the South with the cultural and other barriers and so on. So what I feel is the right model is we should identify a problem, either maybe in the South or North, doesn't matter. So most of the cases I am taking as example is the South examples. So we take the problem and maybe the researchers from the both sides can jointly develop the solutions, and then we can test them on the South and then see the results, and then we can refine that, and then we can do this cycle. So I believe that would work. So if we want to work in that model, so we could follow, I feel, three strategies, collaboration strategies. So what we call strategic partnerships, and some kind of create talent pipelines to hire for developments in between these two parts. And maybe, of course, we can work with joint funding activities and get fund and then solve problems on the South. So in these three models, if I explain a little further, so strategic partnership, I mean that, for example, if you have some regulatory barriers, which, like GDPR laws are very strict, and sometimes it's create a lot of barriers for the researchers to do innovation. But since in the South may not have such tough laws, privacy laws and so on, we could use that to do kind of real-time testings and real-time deployments and things like that, and to test the works. So that is, people call it as regulatory sandboxes. They are available in the South countries, where we could North can get advantage of it. And then we have a lot of ecological uniqueness and a lot of data sets for various problems we could collect there collaboratively and then solve the problem available there plus available here, maybe as a result of that. And sometimes we need to test the systems which works in the constraints or limited within the limited resources. Because if you run a system here, so for example, I see we have this QR code bus ticketing system. So let's say we straight away deploy it in Sri Lanka, it's never going to work. It's never going to work because there are no internet, heavy queues, and like that. So there are very constrained environments. So if we want the systems which runs on such limited resources, limited constrained environments, we need to come to South to see the challenges there. So these challenges there is entirely different than the challenges kind of we are having in the North. And also we have a lot of demographic diversity, different languages, even small country, like if you take India, many languages, even in Sri Lanka, 3 different languages, mainly we use 2 actually, like that, with English 3, like that. So if you have some solutions and the problems or the research which need this kind of environments or the data or the testing, then you can strategically think about which South country is fit to kind of work together. Then perhaps you can talk to the researchers there and come together and develop collaborative solutions and try it out. So that would be much better, I feel, in the research point of view, and we can get the result faster, and then we could kind of achieve our goals faster. And then in the talent pipeline, I mainly focus on how you could use the talents available on the South. A lot of good students are there, good brands are there. So most of them kind of ended up in the industry, which may not really ended up in the universities, which they should. So if you could have some models, methods to work together as 2 countries, North and South, we could absorb a lot of talented brains. And obviously, as you understood, the people think differently in these 2 parts of the world. So the way the South people think, or the South undergraduates or the graduate students think, pattern is entirely different than most of the time how the North same age student think and behave, because they grow in the 2 different environments. So environment affect a lot to the intelligence of these students, especially young students. I really noticed that because I graduated University of Colombo and came here to Stockholm University under Swedish funding. Actually, Sweden government provided a scholar to me to come here and do the PhD. It's kind of, at that time we had that split PhD programs where I works 2 years here, 1 year here, 1 year back, and then 1 year and the last year back. Like I am go back and forth. So that is kind of a very good model. I don't know whether still we have it in Stockholm. That was kind of a very good model. Sweden has kind of 25 years ago, where I came here first time in 1999, and then I finished in 2004. So in between I moved here and there. So at that time, actually, Sweden supported 20 PhDs. Some ended up with Stockholm University, some ended up with Uppsala, and some in Chalmers, Gothenburg, and so on. So that was a very nice model at that time. I don't know whether still the Sweden government supported that. So that's what I meant by this kind of talent pipelining. So I'm proposing some other methods which we can do it without having big funds during my talk. And obviously, other strategy we can follow is applying joint funding. So there are a lot of funding agencies, especially focused on South. So, in the North funding agencies, which provide grants to the North region, as very competitive. If there is a call, there are maybe 100 lions jump into that. And then there are funds focused on to the south, giving the funding to the south, which needed collaboration with the north. So in such funding agencies, we could successfully approach and get real funds to solve the problems in the south. So that's other method or the strategy which we can follow. Right. So let me discuss a little bit of our undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Perhaps some of you in the future would like to absorb our talented students here for PhDs and so on. For that, you need to have idea about these two models running, Sri Lanka in the south and Sweden in the north. In the Sri Lanka has a credit system called SLQA, Sri Lanka Qualification Framework. It's usually expected 50 study hours. One credit is 50 working hours. In the EU here has ECTS, it's a European Credit Transfer and Automation System, right? ECTS. So that is usually some countries, I check it's 25, in Sweden like 30. Roughly 27, 30, it varies between 25 to 30. In the world, uses like 1 to 2 kind of conversion. The one SLQA credit is equal to 2 ECT credits. So our undergraduate program, we have 2 exits. So it's a 3-year exit, 3-year degree program, and students can do further 1 more year and get a 4-year exit. If the 3 years exit, usually we have 90 credits, that is 180 ECTs. And in the 4-year degree, they have to earn 120 credits. Usually 4-year, we go we take usually 240 students here. Among that, in the 4-year, we only take 60 students. Like cream goes to the 4-year. So that is 120 credits program. That is equal to 240 ECTS. So that is a basic undergraduate model following almost all universities in Sri Lanka. Those 3-year or the 4-year degrees. So in our external degree program, actually we take large scale of students. There are no 4-year. It's only 3-year degrees, 90 credits. So when you come to our postgraduate degrees, most of the degrees are not full-time. So it's kind of part-time. It's part-time 2-year degrees. And according to the SLQF, in order to get a master, the student should have 30 credits. So 30 credits means 160 ECTS. That is 1-year master here. But in the most of the Swedish universities gives 2-year master. That's equal to 120 credits. We have a program called Master of Computer Science that has special research components. So students who do the research components ended up with a 60 credit. That is equal to European master. The rest get the 45 credit master. And other master programs usually has 45 credits, that is 90 ECTS credits masters. So that is the basic structure of regular master and the undergraduate degree programs in Sri Lanka. So recently we had discussions with a lot of researchers from US, Australia, UK, New Zealand, and so on. Some of them actually propose this method of collaborating. So I would like to discuss that here as in Europe, but that may not going to work because some of the European universities has strict 120 credit master required for PhD. Like KTH, as Marcus told me, it's need a 120 credit master. But in this program, we are proposing actually 60 ETCS master, that is 30 credit in Sri Lanka. So there what we say is, basically we have 4-year, very good 4-year talented students, which goes for first class. So what we propose is to having 1 more year studying at the university full-time basis. Since government not supporting them after their 4th year, 5th year, we need to get some funding to support them. So what we propose, and some professors or the organization in some countries, they agreed to give some funding to support them do research in Sri Lanka 1 more year, paying the stipend. So if the amount need to pay for such support. I converted into SEK. It's roughly around 36,000 SEK required to support them in a year. If some researcher here in the north can provide that small grant, then they can supervise a student jointly down there in the south, which solves the problem in the now north or south, anything, right? And then the idea is during that period, the supervisors on the north can really test the students, because in the present systems, you do some scoring and you get some reference and hire students. After hire, you may feel they are not good and nothing to do after that and so on. But in this model, we propose to keep them here and work them for a year. So after that, so you know the students. So then, obviously, during that period, we can do in that master. Our requirement is 2 publications, 1 journal and 1 conference. So then, obviously, in the university on the south can get a publication with help of the north, and plus a student can get a degree there. After, if you satisfy with that students, perhaps you can recruit them. It's up to you. And the North University can recruit them for the PhD programs. So especially the professors we talked to from Australia, they are very interesting, and they're pushing us to implement that because they can hire the good talented students straight away under this program. So that is a kind of plus for both. Otherwise, what happened in the South, so all the South countries spend for undergraduate from the primary to the university from actually their money. And then their students come for PhD in the North. And for the North countries, it's a free. It's a free, talented student developed by the South. You take the advantage of them. So that is, I feel, not fair. So I am proposing such simple models. So I'm proposing some simple model where South can at least get some benefits, because when the students works there, so perhaps you can feed them with some knowledge where they can solve the problem on the South. Right? So then after that, you can take it for whatever to solve in the North. So that's what I propose. And during that interim period, perhaps we can get joint publication and the knowledge sharing, which then South can also develop to some extent. So that's my proposal. So if some Swedish universities have strict rules, like need 120 credits, 2-year masters to take it as a MSc, take it as a PhD students. So then we have the other program, Master of MPhil program. We already running that. It is basically 120 ECT credit program where 10 works together in the same model. Especially Australian universities interest on this 1-year master. It's faster. And then if here require this 2-year master, perhaps we can do the same with that 2-year master program here. So it's 60 SLQ credit. So where we can recruit good, talented 4th-year undergraduate, that 4-year degree graduates there, and supervise jointly with assigning 2 people from North and South, and then let them to work in the problems we like, if the problem in the South. If not, that's okay, even the problem in the North. And then get some joint publications and so on. So then we can test the students as well. So after their graduation and MPhil, then they are ready to be recruited straight away without hesitation to the North universities. That's my proposal. In this, to create a steady talent pipeline from South to North, which both parties get benefit. Right. So that is kind of a proposal we never tried with Sweden so far, and even with Australia, even Australian universities pushing us to establish these programs. But we did a lot of the first pillar, like we try strategic partnerships and funding opportunities in the last kind of 20 years with Sweden, especially since I am graduated from Sweden. I managed to keep work with the Swedish Institute somehow even after graduation and after PhD. I still do so. That's why I'm here with new connections and partnerships. My long-running partner is Timo, so I'm thankful to him. So we met somewhere around 2010, and now over 15 years we work together. And we have some funding time to time with different funding agencies, universities to work together, not in the large scale, small scale with different problems. So maybe I will spend a few times to explain what we did so then you can get some benefits or the experience out of those programs. So after my PhD, the first funding I received from an organization called SPIDER. Maybe you don't hear about it. Perhaps I don't know whether it's still available in Sweden. So that is under DSV. That is a joint department between KTH and Stockholm University, which was in Sista. So that was I studied as well. And they created, under Swedish SIDA funding, they created an organization called SPIDER to bridge the Swedish companies with the South. So they had a funding call to put a proposal to the SPIDER, where they put that proposal to the Swedish companies and then kind of arrange projects between the Swedish companies and the South. So I am lucky to get a fund there in their first round of call. And Ericsson was the company accepted my proposal, which basically we want to have sensor networks there, which is a big topic. And we received funding to start that project. And under there, we created the concept called it as a moving sensor. At that time, everybody talks about the fixed sensors. And since we received only few sensors from Ericsson, we thought of how do you use that few sensors to utilize that. So then we came into the idea, why not we mount it in the vehicle and let that vehicle to move? And we kind of put that concept in the paper called it as BusNet. And it was kind of tagged. I noticed that paper was recommended as in PhD courses in a lot of US universities. And it's got a lot of citations as well as that paper we publish. That is what we call it as a BusNet. And after that, a lot of vehicular communication networks and other things came up after that. So under this project, we created this idea of having moving sensors on the vehicles, collect the environmental data on the cities and so on. So I'm happy that that concept is used everywhere now. So there are a lot of publications after that follow that same concept. And under that project, we had a visit to Sista, where I met Timo at SIS, and he asked me to use Contiki for that. So since he was the person who developed in the Contiki. So kind of we are the kind of first user kind of on Contiki, and do actively sometimes our students contributed for the Contiki development. That person who works under that project and finally ended up with Uppsala University as a PhD student, and he graduated and now he works in the Swedish company in Sista. Anyway, so that's how talent pipelines works anyway, right? So that is one project we started 2010. So after that, I got to know Timo, and we thought of how do you get a funding to solve real life problems of the South. So one of the problems we still works with to solve human-elephant conflicts. You heard about conflicts in Sri Lanka. Perhaps we had a terrorist issue and it was solved in 2010. But there is unwritten conflict still going on between humans and the elephants. So we have our elephant populations are growing high, very exponentially, because there are no threat to them. Only human is the threat. And then humans kind of approaching their grounds to farming, and housing and so on. So then the elephants attacks humans. Roughly every year, over 100 people killed, over 200 elephant killed because of this conflict. So that is ongoing conflict, still there. So only viable solution so far we see that for that, it's an electric fence. So we create a regular electric fence for this to separate elephants and the human areas. But thing is, elephants are intelligent animal. So they know how to break the fence, right? So they do various methods to break the fence. So they are fence like here. If they break one side, so elephants in all other part can enter into the village because no electricity from the other side of the fence. So they collaboratively work together, break fence, and destroy the cultivation. Right? So we want to have a solution for that. So we tried with Timo, these sensor networks, a lot of things. So we fix the sensors on the wires to see whether it's current there and so on. So other issue is, so the people living in the villages, they also want to put their cows to the jungle to feeding. So they purposely cut the fence as well. So they know after cutting elephants will come, but they don't care sometimes. So that is ongoing issue there. So I have in the mind to change the structure of the fence, like not like there, but maybe like on the other side, which let the humans to go and cows to go, not to elephant to go like that. But we want to try that. So nobody tried it yet. So I personally feel there is an engineering problem there to solve, not the computer science problem. Because in the computer science problem, we tried to put sensors to try to detect that. But even after detect it, if no one fix that, it's not going to work. So we can detect and say it's not working. If there are nobody in the ground, go and fix it. So the elephant will come. So because they sense the current. They know there is a current in that line or not. Soon as they see there are no current, they break there. So that is some problem still going on. So even we work together, north and south, to solve it. Honestly speaking, elephants win, we lost. Right? As the technologies, we lost the thing. They wins, they still comes, and we still cannot stop they approaching the villages. And so we also doing a lot of things. So one other thing which we tried first time together with Uppsala University, again with funding from Swedish Research Link, right? We are funding. We are funding. So we developed some mics because these elephants issue infrasonic, low-level sounds, infrasonic sounds, and that can be used to localize them. If you put a mic array, and if the elephant is doing infrasonic sounds, and using that mic array, we can locate them. Where are they? So we successfully recorded them. Actually, Timo, some of your friends found a mic which used to detect volcanoes in the Scandinavian countries, and we brought few of them and developed a mic there. Then we developed an open source mic, which basically record that sounds. And that was very interesting. We tried it, we can localize it. But when we try to practically deploy it, honestly speaking, it's failed because we couldn't really get a correct results because there is a same range of voice infrasonic issued by the diesel engines. So we are still using old railway line with old railway whatever engines, and they issue those sounds, and the tractors issue them. So this that our localization get confused practically with that. But somehow recently we noticed some Indonesian set of researchers, they took our design and produced those infrasonic sounds, and they now market it, sell it in Indonesia. And in Indonesia, there are very rural areas where they don't have such railway lines and tractors, and they successfully use it in Indonesia, and they are very kind to donate few mics to us as well, since they took it. So we have in UCSC some of the mics donated by Indonesian groups, developed and donated to us, designed with VR and UCSC or Uppsala and UCSC. So I'm happy because that technology which we can develop works in the south, not maybe in Sri Lanka, but maybe in some other country. But I'm not going to give up with the elephants because I like it, and I want to solve that conflict anyway somehow. So those elephants, actually, not all elephants are culprits. So there are some elephants, bad elephants, they are the culprits who break into the village. There are good elephants. They don't harm the villages. Sometimes they come to the village and houses, drink water, eat, and go back. It's kind of collaborative life they spend with the village. But, like in the human society, we have good people and bad people, like good elephant and the bad elephant. So the thing is how you can identify who are the goods and who are the bads, because elephants are elephants. So zoologists has methods to identify, but we try to automate it. So we got through some set of zoologists, we got the data sets, several data sets where they label bad elephants. And so we train them, these data sets, and now if picture put it, that we can say this is a good or the bad elephant to some extent. So if you collect more and more data over there, so perhaps using camera traps, we could identify whether there are elephant corridors which usual elephants goes. We can put a camera trap there, can identify whether that traps, if bad elephants pass through that trap or not. So then we could take some measurements.
Which one is good? This one?
All are bad. All are the pictures of bad elephants. Actually, it's kind of elephant face detection. So we are not detecting the face. Basically, the feature is the ears. So similar research going on Africa. In the African elephants, their ear has a very different patterns. But challenge with the Asian elephant is straight. So that is the challenge what we face. That ear pattern, when you see the African elephants, there are a lot of like waves-like patterns. But in the Asian elephants, straight. So then in the visually, we couldn't get it. But in the vision and the AI algorithms, we could detect. We managed to detect to the 80% accuracy. So that is kind of ongoing project we do with the support of zoologists. They collect the images and give it to us. We train and give them the model, kind of. If someone wants to collaborate with us, I'm really happy. And the other project we did with Digital Future and Marcus, basically, and Timo, again, to use drones to detect the water stagnant places in the urban areas. Because it's a very challenging problem. Sometimes, in the training season, the water stay in the urban areas on top of the buildings, and the dengue mosquitoes feed there. And the dengue is deadly disease, over like 22,000 deaths all over the world. It's similar to Zika, almost same mosquito type spread those dengue and Zika both. And we try to detect the sites which dengue breathing sites with the drones. Under these collaborations, University of Colombo, RISE, and the KTH, we did it. And RISE provide the support of the drones and drone technology, and the KTH do the AI part of it. And we did it kind of data collection and testing part. So we did some successful testing, and we have some few publications. But I believe actually a long way to go if you really want to deploy such systems in the ground and get solve such problems in some correct way. We need to do a lot of other works, real works. But we have initial results showing that is possible. And first we try with the regular cameras, and then Marcus provided us the infrasonic camera, right, with the KTH. Timo, he provided some infrasonic camera. We mounted on the drone, and then we took the infrasonic infrasound, so multi-spectrum camera he provided, and then with that multi-spectrum camera, we got some accurate results. So that is another problem we work with. So with that, there is another problem within my mind. Maybe if someone interests, perhaps we can think about. So I feel when I come there, here everybody likes teas, and they talk about Delma and Sri Lankan tea. But people who live in the ground, I believe maybe if we don't have a proper solution within next few years, you may not get any Sri Lankan tea. Because still, this tea plunking manual, it's a very labor incentive task. And when British plant the tea there, no Sri Lankans wants to work in those factories. So what they did, they took some people from the South Indian people and put in the factories and let them to pluck the tea leaves. They work now over 200 years like slaves in those factories. So they get very poor salary. And now the young people, they see the world and they are now moving out. After all people who still do tea plunking gone, so nobody here to plunk the tea, I believe. No one wants to go for that job. So then no place in the world to hire them, again, laborers to Sri Lanka to do that. So there need to be some solutions. There are very two challenging problems there, what I see. So usually these laborers, they take 2 fresh leaves and the bud to make the tea. So they manually identify what are the 2 last fresh leaves and the bud. So there is a good vision problem there. How can we identify that using a simple vision model? So 2 buds and the 2 leaves. So then we could find it out. And we cannot use machines or tractors or to go there and plant the tree because that ground is uneven. And there are no space as well. So perhaps we can use a drone there. So if you use a drone there for that, then we need some kind of engineering problem, how to take it out. So then there is an engineering challenge there. And computing challenge there, engineering challenge there. Drone is anyway now stable technology. The drones works. So we use drones to fertilize the system, not to do such things. So perhaps this problem is very interesting, maybe to do some collaborative projects between North and South. And obviously, since I work in the digital forensic or information security area, there are a lot of problems which we have to solve in the forensic perspective. So nowadays, the big issue we are facing is deepfake. A lot of deepfake videos, photos, putting in the media, social media, and so on, which disturb society. And thousands of complaints in the police stations where they cannot sort it out. So we need to have proper mechanisms, methods to find these deepfake videos and to kind of find it out who created and so and so. A lot of things to do. And then a lot of other works in that area like human trafficking and transparency area, a lot of things we need to do. Problems there. So since this limited time, I am not going into detail of all of this, but so what I see is in the digital forensic area also, there are so many problems which really we need to solve. Right. If we have some opportunities to work with the joint funding, so UCC has experience with works with a lot of funding agencies, focus on South. Maybe like you may not heard about Asia Connect, that is a EU funding agency, and then Erasmus Plus you may heard about, we works with that, and the Korean KOICA and JICA, and the all Swedish funding agencies works with them, formally we works with that. And if you see some opportunities, perhaps such problems we can identify and apply for the funding. So with that all, what I want to tell it to you, there are real problems in the South, which to make the digital future there. So which really the researchers on the North can help. And for that, obviously, we need to have good collaboration mechanism in between these two parts of the world. So mainly the message which I want to pass it, so the resource link constraints, heterogeneous infrastructure, fragmented systems, that created a uniqueness there where we should take it as opportunities. So these are the opportunities for do kind of research, real opportunities to do real research, which helps other part of the world. So that is the main message which I want to pass. Even Marcus announced, he asked me to do another seminar. Since everybody in this information security world now talks about quantum threat, because the quantum computing may popping up, and then the existing security algorithms like RSA, Diffie-Hellman, elliptic curve going to obsolete within next 5 years. The US government under NIST started post-quantum cryptography migration in the US. So I did some presentation in Sri Lanka a few weeks ago, and Timo was there. And Marcus wanted to organize the same seminar here at KTH. I am doing it. That is very basic seminar which I do, what quantum computing is, and why it's threat to the security. And we should again take it as an opportunity, because we can get more power with quantum machines to do a lot of other things. All right. With that, I would like to conclude the talk. I think I'm almost okay, right, in the time. So if you have any problems or questions, I'm happy to answer. Plus, I must thank Marcos and Digital Future again to support me that visit. And obviously, my long-term collaborator, Timo, on collaborating us for such a long period now, 15, 20 years. And obviously, I would like to thank Sweden and the Swedish people, where they helped me to complete my PhD, plus continuously supporting to improve the research and other opportunities. And I'm always to work together, and I always believe if we work together, can get much better results, and which will benefit both sides. So otherwise, only one side will get benefit, other side will get poor and poor when time goes on. So, right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kasun.